Folks at home, folks at home, folks at home, I'm so tired I can't even say folks at home anymore. Welcome back to Bass U live from ICAST 2017. Thanks for hanging in there. And the hits keep on coming. Want to keep rolling. We're here with more amazing new products and two very, very special guests. Sitting to my left, you know him, Carl Jochimson is here. Fresh off an amazing tournament on the Potomac River. Want to talk to you a little bit about that. And Marco T, with the letter T, from Molix is here. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for having us on the show. ICAST is a place where a lot of new stuff come out. This is the show where we get to see a lot of new stuff for the first time. And Molix, to me, has always been on the cutting edge of new products.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that? Why is Molix so good at designing new stuff? Stuff that people haven't seen. This is cutting edge stuff. Why is Molix so good at that?
Well, every time we try to realize different kind of products.
Yeah.
We take care about the quality, the detail, and we try to do something different.
Yep.
Okay. With our Italian style, of course.
Yes. Yeah. So Molix isn't trying to knock off or duplicate stuff that's out there. This is new actions and new shapes and new colors.
Always we try to realize products with a peculiar, a different action.
Yeah.
Try to satisfy our needs that are the needs of the fishermen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And every time we try to realize a different product, we put in mind the needs of the fisherman.
Yep.
Okay.
Thinking about the angler, thinking about new actions,
Yes.
different techniques.
Yes.
That's awesome. Carl, I want to switch to you because it's a great story. I think one of the first times you met Molix and saw this stuff was at ICAST.
Yep.
Tell everybody about that because that's a little bit of a cool story.
Yeah, it's just a great company. They approached me and I'd seen some of the stuff through what you'd done, and always coming from Australia, I'm always looking for to throw Australian baits or something different that the largemouth haven't seen. And so when I saw what Molix has, it's just different, and the quality and everything. So I got to sit down and I saw what they had, and they didn't want to just push on me and be a sponsor. They wanted me to use the gear and say, let me know what you think. And it didn't take me long to realize this is a company I want to be a part of. And just being at largemouth see so many of the same baits continually. And
same action.
Same action, same shape, same color, everything. And all of a sudden, bang, they just see this thing. And it might be a lure that isn't ideal for that situation, but when a largemouth hasn't seen something, they feel with their mouth. That's what they got to do. So I tend to get so many more bites when I use a Molix product because it's just so different and off the level. But I've been excited to work with them because they actually listen. That's the biggest thing. And I'm like, this needs tweaking. Bang, it's done.
Yeah.
And like last year when I said yes, I want to work with you guys, they said, what do you want? And I told them what I wanted, and within 2 weeks there was like a sample and it was almost perfect. And I'm like, this is going to be fun to work with.
That's awesome. And that's a really cool story. I know a lot of you watching right now wonder how that process works, right? All this new stuff, this amazing stuff you see, a lot of you think it just poofs out of air, but there's a lot of design, development, product testing.
Yes, of course.
That goes into this stuff. I want you, Carl. I want you to talk about the frog because this is a really cool deal. And when you talk about something that goes from a concept to tweaking it till it's right, and then the final element of that is going out and catching fish and winning tournaments with it. Talk a little bit about that because this was last year. We both saw this for the first time.
Yep.
And and you did a lot of development on it and got it perfect.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that, and then parlay that into how you're using this now to do well. I know you used it at the Potomac River.
Yep. It's this is a frog from Molix. It's called the Sneaky Frog, and they gave me an Ica sample, and it looked pretty much similar to this. I don't know if you can hold it up to the.
Yeah, let's get a shot of that right there at that camera. Shot. Dave, can you give us a close up real quick?
See if we can get. But it's a lot bigger than an average frog. It's got a slimmer profile, and it's got a single tail. But if you can get in on there, that is the weight system there is centered. But it came to me just like this, and when I started to fish with it, the deal with it is with the way they'd weighted it, and with the single tail, the length, the spook style shape, I could get it to spit water and walk back and forward and not come back towards me. I could keep it in the one spot. And all of a sudden, I just started getting smoked by giant bass and bigger bass on average in all sorts of different locations. But there's so much to a frog to make it perfect. If it is not perfect, it's not good for me, because I want to use it in a tournament, and the hook rate to land ratio has to be perfect. And this came to me the start of last year, and it's only just coming out now because it has come back and forward to me, to Molix, so many times to the littlest detail until it was perfect, because I said to him, the first thing I said was, you've got something special here. I think this is probably the best frog, definitely the best frog I've ever thrown.
Yeah.
I think it can be one of the best in America, and I want to make sure it's perfect before you bring it out.
Yeah.
And it come down right to where I thought it was perfect, and then I hooked some fish, and the nose wasn't tight to the pin, and it folded where it created a weed guard, so they had to bring it back and pin the nose to the front so it crushed, and just the tiniest little things until it was perfect. And now it's going to be available come the 1st of August, and I honestly don't really want to show anyone, because I've had some pretty good samples for the last 2 years, and there's anyone that has fished with me in my boat will be ordering directly as soon as they come, because I've whooped some tail with it of guys that have frogs or said, frogs don't work here, and then next minute I'm like, caught over 20 pounds, 5-pounders on where they don't even eat frogs, and it's just a special tournament bait, because I pick it up when it just catches a bigger class of fish. So it's definitely a special thing, and when you see it walk, guys know why it's going to be good. But Sneaky Frog from Molix, so definitely
Sneaky Frog.
Yeah, it's a good name. Cause
it's awesome, and again, this gets back to Molix creating something different than what's out there, unique action. And when I first saw it, I loved the fact that this is almost like a spook in a frog. It's that long cigar stick bait kind of action, and this thing walks like crazy. The walking properties of this are unbelievable.
That's the key, and you'll see you can turn it so hard on its side that it'll spit water. So, and that's what I learned just through being over here for so many years, that if you can get it to spit water and turn back and forward on itself, and when a Florida style situation, when they're on beds and you can keep it over the top of them, they hate it. They'll have to eat it, because it's bigger, it's in their way, it's over the top of them, and it stays there. So as soon as I've just noticed in the last thing, everything I do now, I try and keep the bait in front of them, because I just believe they see the bait and then everyone just keeps moving it, and the bass is just like, I'm just going to let it go. But when it sits there long enough, they can't resist it. And now you can do it with a Topwater. It just works.
It's unbelievable. Marco, I want to talk a little bit about techniques. Frog fishing in general, topwater frog fishing.
Yeah.
Was that a big technique in Italy and Europe, or do a lot of these things kind of migrate in from the States, and then you guys put your spin on it? And
No,
tweak it?
it's popular even in Europe, in Spain, in Italy, of course.
Yeah.
And it's getting even more popular every day, because it's a very nice type of fishing. I mean, it's a very topwater action is exciting.
It's exciting
type of fishing. You know? So I like very much the topwater fishing.
Okay, we're going to do something real quick. We did this yesterday, and I want to do it with you two guys, and Marco and Carl. I both want to get you in on this. There are different kind of frog bites that you get out there, and you can really identify them by the sound. So, Carl, I'm going to start with you. Give me your favorite frog bite by sound. And just go ahead and use the microphone. We want to hear what that frog bite sounds like. Go ahead and give it to us.
I pride myself on a good...
Wow! All right, so you're saying like a... Oh, God, like an explosion.
Yeah.
Don't turn me down, Brian.
They've really got it when they do that.
All right, Marco, give us your favorite frog bite, the sound with your mouth. Give it to us. Whoa! A little more high pitch, right? A little more high pitch. That maybe is one that came down on it. That's a good one. And Brian DeCarpenter, let me give you mine real quick. And I've got that little tiny, smaller size up there.
Nice slurp. Just slurped it in.
What would Rojas's frog sound like?
Well, I don't know. He's self-proclaimed best frog angler alive.
I
so.
think his frog sound bite would be better.
Oh, his Dean Rojas's frog sound would be like this.
I heard it's the best.
It's the best. I want to go on. Let me remind everybody watching right now, you're watching BU Live. Please hit us up. If you've got a question for Marco or Carl, if you've got a question about any of these Molix baits you see in front of you. But let's keep it going. Show me some other new stuff.
Yep.
Let's talk about that thing. Because that thing is, when you talk about different baits, dude, I was actually worried about getting stung by this thing. Look at this thing. Brian DeCarpenter, give us a close-up. Brand new soft plastic.
SC Bug.
SC Bug.
SC Bug.
Looks like a scorpion.
So you've got your Topwater deal.
Yeah.
The Bug. And that is this, like, I looked at it. Yesterday they showed me and I was like, that is different. That is cool. Then they showed me the video of what it did. And this basically does what Ike's Beetle does, but under the water. And it's actually one of the coolest things I've ever seen because it gets that back and forward style walk under the surface, mid-surface, but the big one for me, when they had a small football head jig on it, it did that crawl across the bottom.
Wow.
And it just looked like, exactly to me, like a crawdad or something going across the bottom, and it looked good. It's got a totally different action to anything that I've ever seen. And the main key with like this Molix stuff, if you could zoom in on that, their stuff is so fine detail. Like, I can't hold that still enough, and something's always moving on it. And when you get it in that water and you sit it there in winter and it's a tough bite, there's something always moving on a Molix bait, and that helps them hone in on it and eat it. You know, that a crawdad doesn't just keep flicking along the bottom. He sits there and slowly moves. He's got tentacles, and bass hone in on all those little deals.
Yeah.
And that's what just makes Molix bait so special. It's just the finer details.
Yeah, very cool. So there are people watching right now, Marco, that are looking at this, and they're watching Carl hold this, and they say, I got to have it. I have to have that right now.
As soon as possible.
Something like this available right now, or is it still
Not
tweaking
yet.
it?
Not yet. It's
Okay.
very new.
Yeah.
So it will be available as soon as possible. I think next season.
Next year.
Yes,
Okay.
next year it will be available here.
Yeah, and that's a good testament on the design process. It takes a while to get everything right, and I love that. I love the fact that Molix puts stuff out when it's perfect, when it's
Yes,
right.
of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Brian DeCarpenter, do we have any amazing comments coming through? You have anything you want to say?
Just a question for Carl about the. Did FLW release their schedule yet?
Yep.
What do you got? What do you like for next year?
Okeechobee straight up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And even though I've never been there, but I'm going to head there as soon as iCast is done. So I got my boat down here. I'm going to drive down, spend a few days. Harris Chain is next. I actually ran straight from there to here, so I'm not sure if I can remember them all. But had a great finish this year at Harris Chain. Had a top 20 and was sitting in top 5 there for a while. But I just haven't caught them down in Florida very well. But I'm slowly learning not to get my butt whooped. But the whole schedule looks really good. Kentucky Lake, Smith Lake, Sinclair is a real different one towards the end of the year. That's going to be exciting to get up there. And then there's a couple of different ones thrown in there. Lanier, never fished there.
Spots.
Yep, spotted bass, and that's good for me. Clear water, finesse fishing is usually what I like, but I'm very excited for the schedule. Should be good.
Cool, man.
It's pretty awesome.
Good.
I want to keep going because we've got a table here, and I do kind of want to go through some of these other ones. Marco, you want to talk about the swim bait we've got here? What's the name of the swim bait? What do we've got
The
here?
name of this one
Brian DeCarpenter.
is RT Shad, and is our newest shad, tiny, small.
Yeah.
But with a very specific movement, you know. Even the color, we take care about the color chart, and as you can see, there are some glitter inside,
Yeah.
and there is a new way to realize the soft shad.
Yeah.
Okay, we are developing a new way, secret way, you know. But
Secrets.
yes, new one, big eyes, So we are very, very happy, and this is available very soon.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
I s-
Awesome.
I
Have you
saw-
fished that one
Yeah,
yet,
I
Carl?
just saw it swim. They've got some really cool videos on it. And the thing with their swim baits is what I've noticed is a lot of swim baits, the body will stay still and the paddle tail will move. And that's great in cold water and tough conditions. But 90% of the time, I want the body to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to roll side to side.
Yeah,
roll
I
on
want
the
that
bottom.
roll, and I want the tail to move. But what happens is usually you sacrifice a faster speed. So usually it's got a stiff tail, so that you have to wind quicker, and that gets the stiffer tail usually gets the body to roll and the tail to paddle. But with the with this one and their other swim bait, the RA shad, I catch a ton of fish on that. The body rolls and the paddle tail moves at as slow as you can possibly
Right.
want, and that's just another thing that makes them different and more special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
definitely.
creep it. You can creep it.
Yep.
I want to put you guys on the spot, and Carl, I'll start with you. Then Marco will go with you. Carl, give us one technique or bait style that's being used in Australia that's not being used here in the States. Give us something that you've seen or used over there that just hasn't caught on here.
Probably, for me, definitely like a there's a couple techniques, but one in Australia that I had done really well with was like it's a soft style lipless type crankbait.
Ooh, I've
And-
happened to I've seen that.
and like in Australia, hopping it and letting it fall over smallmouth and stuff, or in Australia over our bass, works really well. But it just, everyone wants. For me, one thing that I've seen between America and Australia is everyone here wants loud noise, rattles,
Yeah.
flash, shine.
Yeah.
In Australia, you want it as natural
It's
as
the
you can
opposite.
get. Complete opposite. Silent, less action, lighter line, and just more natural than more the glare. So that's, I come here and it does work, and there's tons of times, but sometimes they want the rattle, but I always like going back when they get a lot of pressure, going to silent,
Natural.
Yeah.
Quiet sounds.
stuff.
Marco, give us one thing in Italy that's popular. It's not popular here in the United States.
I'm not a bassman, I know.
Yeah.
So we understand and we learned, a lot of fishing techniques from the United States.
Yep.
So they are almost the same. I mean, we have smaller fish, of course. You have big ones. So our approach is more finesse.
Finesse.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even for the lakes, we have they are not so big like
Yep.
that we have here.
Smaller lakes, more
Yes,
pressure.
smaller lake.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure
Yeah.
because bass fishing is getting every day more popular in Italy. So a finesse approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Here is the same or not? The finesse approach.
It is the same. It's the same on tough tournaments, on highly pressured water.
Okay.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. That's good.
Good.
Now, speaking of, I'll show you a couple, and this is like, for you watching, this is going to be like a little sneak peek into what's coming. You all know, if you fish here in the States, the fish head spin, with Brian the Carpenter's eyeballing it because he wants to steal it. The fish head spin, this is really early prototype,
Yeah.
not available yet, but this is a good look at the system Molix uses. So everybody knows the traditional fish head spin. They've taken that and they're trying to make this thing a lot better. Flexible arm on this fish head spin, weed guard to throw this thing in brush, balanced head, flat head to let that thing run true. That's a little sneak peek at something that's coming.
Mike, let's see that on the Zoom.
Okay, we'll show that over there on the Zoom.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Show you another one, Brian the Carpenter. I know you're going to be excited about this. Molix is toying with and really coming back with titanium wire. Big fan of the old Molix titanium wire spinner baits. A lot of vibration with that bait, a lot more noise with those blades coming together. Put that one over there. You're going to let everybody see that at home. It's a really good one.
Oh, yeah.
And then finally, I want to get to something that that is really been a bait for me that's produced a lot. And Brian the Carpenter, you know about this as well because you've stolen them from my barn.
That's right.
A lot. We've got the beetle. A lot. I keep going to my barn and my pegs are empty. I know it was. I have them high up so Vegas can't reach them, right? Because my 6-year-old son steals all my baits. So I keep my soft plastics low on the peg because it's Berkeley stuff. It's okay if they steal it. All the Molix stuff's really high up. It's that guy. Look at him.
That's right.
Look at him. He's stealing my stuff.
I got long arms.
He's got long arms. But the beetle, amazing bait. Really, for a lot of the old guys watching that jitterbug style action, that side-to-side wobble. And I want to let you know, and again, 2 sizes too. There's the baby beetle, really cool. Spinning rod, light braid sign. Hold those over there. And while I'm still talking, this bait is excellent around hardcover. Don't think that the beetle is only for slop and pads and frogfish. It's good around all that. But this lure right here, for me, has been a sleeper around hardcover. Docks. Oh, my God. Skipping it.
They skip like crazy.
Oh, my God.
Yes,
This thing skips like crazy. Overhangs, docks. Everybody watch and try this. Tackle Warehouse, I know, is carrying this bait. Dick's Sporting Goods is carrying this bait. Please give it a try. It's the Molix Beetle. It's a really good one. Brian, do we have any other questions coming through? I'm going to keep rolling on. Carl, tell me a bit. Give us an update on your season. You had some amazing ones. FLW.
Yep.
Give us your observation as far as fishing FLW versus bass, and then talk about your season a little bit.
Yep, I had a good season first year with FLW. It was really enjoyable. I got that day off in between the practice and
That's
the tournament,
key, isn't it?
and I was sold. That just helped me prepare and not be rushed.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a sleep in, and
I missed that.
yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed that. But had a great finish finally down Harris Chain. I've fished the Florida for the last 7 years, and I've just never ever caught them. And just you got to keep learning and adapting, and it's such a good feeling when you 7 years of learning finally all comes together. And I made a top 20 there. And then the difference for me was the elites. It's just it's unbelievable how good everyone is there. And the FLW is super, super strong as well. But I was trying to, all year I had that mindset, in the elites, I thought, you had to have the most mega day ever just to get inside the top 50. And I went into that mindset where I should have just picked up my roots and what I know and just went fishing instead of trying to make something magical happen. And I missed the Forestwood Cup by 20 points. So over the season I had a great season, sort of mid finishes and missed. But at the end of the season, Potomac, it was great to
Good tournament on Potomac.
Yeah, it was great to fish the Potomac last year on the elites, learn from it, and then come back to have it in a schedule on the FLW, and then all those hard lessons that I learned from the elites played into me having a great tournament. So you just you got to, those bad tournaments are the best things. I hate having them, but they're such good learning curves
It's a
for
learning
me.
tool.
Because I'm all of a sudden, just that harsh tournament I had last year in the elites just made me make the best decisions and fish it right. And if you don't have them, everything goes right. You kind of think you are doing it all right, but you don't learn those valuable lessons that you need for down the track. So Potomac, I had I think at 9:30 in the morning I had nearly 19 pounds.
Wow.
And I hadn't touched any of my stuff, so I honestly thought this was going to be one to win. And that tidal fishery, learned a lot from it again. On the second day, I pushed my area too hard, wanted to catch the limit and then move. And when it didn't happen, I pushed it, and now I'm behind on my schedule. The day before, I'm just bang, every move I'm making, I'm right on
Isn't
point.
that crazy?
And then
how
now
you could be off by such a little amount and make such a big difference.
I pushed it half an hour too late, and I knew, and now my rotation was off, and I didn't get any bites anywhere. And I'm but I saved the day, made the top 20, had a good third day, and made a bit of a comeback, and just it feels so good to catch them, and it makes those hard ones just a little bit easier to swallow.
Yeah, awesome. Marco, question for you. Is this your first time to ICAST?
Yes.
First time to United States?
No, I already been here in United States, but first time in ICAST, and is fantastic.
You like it. Overall impression of this show compared to European shows?
Yes, it's the biggest show I ever seen in my life. I've been in FTEX, other show in Italy, but this is amazing, huge,
Yeah.
full of products, stands, new people. Very good, very nice experience.
What was your take on the chicks with their asses hanging out at Swagger Tackle? At Swagger.
What to me is swagger?
Swagger. The chicks with their asses hanging out at Swagger.
We missed that. We'll have to go and have a look.
Okay.
I heard they made them put pants on.
They did make a pants on.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. One more thing. We got a lot of people watching that dream to go to Italy. Their dream is to travel over there. Give us 3 things that you have to see in Italy for people wanting to go over.
3 are too few, no? I mean,
Give us 3 of the top ones.
yes, of course, the culture, the way to act for the people is very enjoy people, you know. The culture, of course, we have a century of history, and the food, of course.
Yes.
Good wine.
Yes.
Yeah. These are the most important.
They're good ones.
Yeah.
And,
But there are much more.
and a visit to the Molix factory. You have to
Yeah.
stop by Molix. That's world class. That's more famous than the Leaning Tower and Rome and that's more important than all that stuff, right? The Molix factory. I think it is. But yes.
How's the food compare? The Italian food over here.
Compared to here,
Yeah.
What's
Hey,
Olive
it's quite
Garden?
different.
Is Olive Garden good?
yeah. It's different things here, you know.
That's Olive Garden, Outback,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a cheesesteak anywhere other than Philadelphia is the same comparison across the board.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Before we go, Carl, let them know. We got a lot of people who want to follow you. You've got great social sites. Let them know how they can follow you.
Yep, Instagram and Facebook, just Carl Jochimson. You can get on my website, carljochimson.com, see all my content there. But Instagram, Carl Jochimson, we just keep up to date and enjoy everyone following us along and be fishing FLW next year. I've got 2 Bassmaster Opens coming up. Trying to win one and make the Classic and be the first Aussie to fish a Bassmaster Classic would be nice. And then I'm thinking about fishing the US Open at the end of the year.
Ooh,
So
Lake Mead.
Lake Mead.
Yep.
That tournament was the start for me. I fished it as a co-angler. I won the trip here, and I met Fred Rombanis, and that's how the whole thing happened. So I'd really like to win the US Open. It means a lot to me, that tournament, and I just enjoy it because it's a battle.
Very cool. That's a dream of mine to fish that tournament one day as well.
Yep.
And let me remind everybody, if you see this stuff and you want to see more of it, go to the Molix website. Go to Molix.com. You could also follow Molix on their social feeds, Facebook,
Yes.
Twitter, and Instagram. Also, Tackle Warehouse, huge place at Dick's Sporting Goods to go find this stuff.
Yeah.
Keep your eye out for that frog.
Don't throw it.
Sneaky frog. Give it a try. It's going to be awesome. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hang in there with us because we've saved the best for last. When we come back, joining us, not Chris French, but joining us, Brian Thrift, FLW AOY, is going to be joining us. You got to listen to this guy. He's the best angler in the world right now. We're going to get a lot of good info. Hang in there with us when we come back. BU Live, ICAST 2017.
Point.
Ciao.
Everybody point.
On Peak Lucy Pitches.